Hello, all, and welcome to the Boomer Live. Today, we are going to be talking about a thriller between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Rajasthan Royals. It was Rajasthan Royals who was put into bat by Royal Challengers Bangalore, and they got off to a slow start. But with all the thanks to Josh Butler's finishing ability alongside Hetmeyer, they posted a decent score of 169. From there on, it was RCB was put under pressure by Rajasthan Royals. They were four down around 60, and from there it was one man. Yet again, he finishes things off in style for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Dinesh Karthik alongside Shahbaz Ahmed, who has been another star in this game, did the job for RCB. I have Nikhil joining me to talk about the game. Nikhil, how exciting a game that was. You can just see it, you can just feel it. That was one of those games where you think, oh, this is classic IPL thriller.
Not sure if it was classic because there were so many errors that both teams committed. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Josh Butler drop.
Right.
I mean, it didn't cost them much, but nearly did. So
Yeah.
when he gave them, I think the Akash, the deep chance was very hard for him to take, but the David Willey one should have been gobbled. But again,
Absolutely.
I think both teams made a lot of very weird changes to their bowling plans. I mean, for a change, Harshal bowled just one in the death, and then you had Siraj bowling and Deep bowling the last over. So a very weird game in terms of tactics. I don't know if Chahal was injured, and which is why they held on to Chahal
Yeah.
because Chahal has an excellent record against DK. If he was not injured, I'm not sure that why was he held back. So it'll be interesting to see what if at all Samson said anything about him in the
Right.
post-match chats. I'm just
No.
checking that if he did
He
mention
didn't.
anything
He
about
didn't.
it.
He
But
hasn't. He hasn't.
yeah, so it is very weird game. I think RCB will be very happy, especially with the way Shahbaz Ahmed has played.
Right.
I think DK, we all know he's done that before for them and for many franchises. So they will be delighted with the win. Always thought they should have chased this down. They did get 20 more to chase, but a good win at the end of the day.
Now, talking about the tactics of Rajasthan, let's get into that first up. You did mention rightly about Chehal's tactics. Did you also were a little surprised when Yashasvi came to bowl the last over? I understand it was just 3 runs to win, and you are just giving up on the game. But then you still had someone like a Navdeep Saini or a Riyan Parab who could have possibly done the job, who has done previously as well. But then it just felt a little odd, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, as I said, very weird game in terms of the calls taken by a lot of both the teams today. So you did feel that Samson has completely given it up. Could have even given the ball to Josh Butter, wouldn't have made a difference in that
Right.
regards. So I think yeah, they had given it up, and it just sums up the day for our.
Right, absolutely. Now let's talk about that moment, right, when Shahbaz Ahmed and Dinesh Karthik walked into bat. Um, would you have given a chance to RCB at that stage? Just talking as an analyst perspective, because at that stage, most of the people would have been like, "Okay, the game is done and dusted. Chahal is running through RCB. He ball a gem of a ball to get David Willey out. Then Sherfin Rutherford, who just played a very slow knock, 5 of 9. Or you can
Yeah.
say so. Even last game, he played a similar kind of knock, and he was adding pressure onto Shahbaz Ahmed. But when then DK walked into bat, it just looked like he owned the stage. It just looked like, oh, I've been here, I've done it, and it's just another opportunity for me. Are you seeing a more like an unleashed form of DK? Because last 2 seasons at KKR, he hasn't been able to do this.
But that's because I don't think KKR found out the best way to use him, which is very surprising given their strong think tank that there is there. So again, I think that can happen with any franchise when you don't things don't go your way. You try to not probably explore or do much. But I think this is the perfect place for Karthik to come good, and he has. But as I said, very impressive with the way Shahbaz Ahmed played. I think even in the previous game when he came on to bat, he ensured that he was there out to do a job, and he did that well. I think he hit a couple of sixes, and then he got out, which was fine. Today, I think RR made too many tactical poor calls in terms of whatever they bowled to Shabazz. They were either a good length and then asking him to hit, and he was happy to hit, or they went full and he was happy to swing at that as well. So, uh, just as I said, very weird game in terms of you could not understand what the teams were trying to do at a particular point of time in terms of okay, what is their plan now? So,
Right.
with that said, I think RR this was one of their problem areas that they don't have anybody who's that good at the death. So they need wickets up top and they need to continue to take that. So, and I think it will not be long before we start talking a bit more about Ashwin's form.
Right.
in terms of his contribution with wickets. So
Right.
there's no doubt that he's a great bowler, but I think RR need him to strike more than he has so far. So I think that is going to be a bit of a problem area for them because he hasn't taken wickets. And today, when DK came, he just got into him. And at 21 run over just set it up for Bangalore from there.
Hmm. Right. Rightly talking about the R's bowling conundrum. Now they're playing with five mainstay bowlers. They're just going with six proper batsmen and five bowlers. Now, on a bad day, who do you turn to? Do you really turn to Riyan Parag, who hasn't actually had, no, he is not one of your best bowlers. He can be a seventh bowling option, as you can see. He's not your sixth bowling option. Your sixth bowling option, most of the IPL teams are the ones who take control, who ball in such a way that you can also compensate with your fifth bowler. So on
Yeah.
a bad day, who can RR actually turn to? Is it Yashasvi Jaiswal and Riyan Parag, a combined mix of them?
Definitely not. Even without the evidence that we have today,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that is even that is something that they will definitely have to look into because I think it is one of the reasons why they. I don't know why they played only three foreign players. It depends on the injury status of the overseas guys who are available with them. So that could be very interesting to see. Interesting to see because I think they have Jimmy Nisham. NCN is probably not fit enough. So they will have to get Jimmy Nisham. And again, as we said, this was their problem area that they don't have anybody reputed who can bowl at the time. Trent Bolt is he can have his good days, but he has more off days. And he had a very good time in UAE, but he hasn't had that good a time in India,
Hmm.
especially even bowling in the power play. So I think new ball wickets, as we say in every life, new ball wickets
Right.
are very crucial for any team to come back very strongly in this game.
Right. It's so funny that when a team does well, nothing of this gets pointed out. But when a team has an off day, all of a sudden you find thousands of problems in a team, and all of a sudden you're questioning, oh, there is a leak. There's a leak over here. Let's fix it all. That's how cricket is. That's how our game is. That's why we love it as well. Now let's talk about RCB.
Yeah.
RCB, they could have possibly restricted this team to 140 or 150, is it? And some of the chances which RCB gave away to RR, it could have proven costly on another day, but today maybe luck or whatever favored them did actually favor them.
Yeah.
Talking to RCB's death bowling, do you reckon the Siraj is actually missing his length, especially this IPL? Because you expect someone like Siraj to be much better because last season and the season before that he just came into the fore, but this season is quite missing the length, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird case because again, as you said, Siraj is experienced now. He's not somebody who's new to this arena, and again, which is why I was very surprised that they kept Siraj to bowl two at the death and had Harshal bowling only just one. So again, I'm sure they saw and they went to try and take a wicket of Shimron Hetmai probably with Harshal early. But again, I think that is something that they'll have to look into because I think Siraj did bowl very well with the new ball. And again, it's a very tricky call that he's an international player. You expect him to adapt better to surfaces on whatever they'll offer because he will remain one of the key bowlers in the death. I don't see Deep bowling in the death or going ahead. Even last game, I think Deep was bowled out before the 15th or the 16th over. So that I think should be the case. I don't. They tried something else today, but yeah, they won. So again, as I said, this is an IPL where the teams have gapping holes, but if individuals step up in one of that department, then you are hiding that hole for the day. So
Right.
for today, that hole is hidden for RCB, but we know that the hole is still there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have a question as well. Should RCB persist with Akash Deep Singh when they have someone like an experienced camp like Siddharth Kaul, who has done well in the death? He knows how to bowl in the middle phase as well. And he's a proven customer. He's done really well for Sunrisers Hyderabad whenever he's gotten an opportunity. Akash Deep has been costly. If you look at all the three games, he's picked up wickets in the second game, but still, he's looked to be costly when he's going 10 and over almost every game. Do you reckon RCB will consider that particular switch just to bring in the experience of Siddharth Kaul to support Siraj?
I don't think so. Honestly speaking, because whatever I saw of Akash Dip today, at least he looked very good. And
Yeah.
remember, there was a Josh Butler drop of his own bowling. Had that been taken, it would have been a completely different call. And even in that last over that he bowled, the no ball that wasn't there, and then he got a free hit, and then he got another. So these small things may not reflect on the scorecard, but when you see the game, you realize that okay, he was probably hard done by the third umpire that you give away that no ball. and then you have a free hit, and then it frees up the batsman as well. That okay, now it's I'm hitting it well. Let's go ahead and hit another one. So
Right.
I think they should back him. The only thing that I think they might try to do is change around depending on the matchups and depending on how they feel the surface is, because I
Right.
do think there was a lot of dew, uh, because we saw Siraj wiping the ball after almost every ball. So I
Hmm.
think they did struggle with that. But let's see. Hopefully, I don't think they'll drop him just now. There is still time.
Yeah. Now, talking about another question as well, Simon Dillon, the commentary in the ninth over, mentioned about how Riyan Parag hasn't really come into the stage of IPL as he has a potential, but last 3 seasons he's got a huge sample size as well, and he called him a social media star. Now, I wouldn't want to delve into those kind of things,
Yeah,
but Riyan Parag, and you know that Rajasthan Royals are just playing with three foreigners at the moment. But when you have someone like Jimmy Neesham, who can also be a sixth bowling option, as we just mentioned, as we just discussed about sixth bowling option,
yeah.
can he be a possible switch? And he can also bring in a left hand combination into the lineup as well.
See, I'll still back Riyan Parag. He's
Hmm.
very young, and if you don't back him now, when are you going to back him? You cannot just leave a player out in the wilderness. That okay, go figure your game out and come back again. And I don't think in this season he's got that many chances. He's coming off a good run for Assam where he played very well. I think he had a decent run of form. So this is probably the time for the team management to back him and say that okay, let's go ahead and do this.
Right.
I do agree that yes, they need somebody else as well as an option. But now, if you've taken Ashwin and he's not getting you wickets, that's also an area of concern for you, because then how
Right.
are you going to catch up? Just matchups are not going to be important. You have to take wickets as well. Sorry that
Right.
I have too much hair trouble today, but just like RR I have with the lower middle order. So I think they'll want to back him, because see, somebody like a Hetmeyer has come good after having a lot of frustrating times. Hetmeyer has been around for a while, and now he's finally getting his game through. So Parag is very young, and
Right.
see, he could also be used with the ball. They don't use him much, but he has shown the potential that okay, you can use me with the ball as well. So
Hmm.
hopefully he gets enough games and he gets enough games in the right role. So then is when we'll see whether he's making the right decisions, whether he's giving you those finishing touches that you want from a Riyan Parag. So he may be a social media star, but then that's not his fault.
Yeah.
He is definitely trying to get better skill. Even today, he didn't get to bat. So I don't
Right.
think we can fault him for games like these.
In another curious case of a player is Ravichandran Ashwin, and you've taken his name already two times now. In T20 cricket, he has had some of the games where he looked really unplayable, but there are some games where you question him, saying that he is an off-spin bowler. Why doesn't he stick to his strengths rather than darting those undercutters or trying too many things? That's been one of the biggest criticism of Ashwin as well over the years, that he's trying too much and he's not sticking to his primary strength. Do you reckon he should actually stick to bowling off spin, and those change of variation should be a secondary weapon in order to be more successful in T20 cricket and be a more potent wicket taking option?
See, one thing for sure, that if we know this, Ashwin knows it better than us, for
Yeah.
sure. That whatever he's trying, he's there is some plan for sure. He's not going to be running up and bowling whatever he does without a reason. So uh, I'm sure he knows this, but I'm not sure what the role the management has given to him. That is something that we don't have clarity on. Because today I felt was the right day for him to come good and take 2-3 wickets, because he had Rutherford and Shabazz and Willie, and he bowled very leg sidish to them. And
Hmm.
even to DK when he bowled that first ball, after which the lengths were completely off, he got hit around after bowling down leg. So I don't know what is it that he's trying to do. There will definitely be some plan, but it is not working. So, given the bowler that Ashwin is, I'm hoping that he'll come back strong, because RR need him to strike, because Chahal is doing his best. You can see that. You can see in the way Chahal is bowling, he's creating those chances. With Ashwin, I don't see that happening. Now, again, it could be that the plan is to use him as a containing bowler, but again, I feel Ashwin is a good enough bowler to take wickets. But again, that is something that we don't know. So his form is very crucial for RR. And if not him, I don't think they have enough options as well to take wickets.
Right.
So
Right.
they should use him as a wicket taker only. So I'm sure both Ashwin and RR will be very keen on seeing Ashwin in the wickets for him.
Now let's talk about RCB, and I'm sure that this current RCB team is going to be further strengthened with the inclusion of Glenn Maxwell and Hazelwood will be coming in. Who will you like to sit? Will you like to see sit out from this RCB 11 from today's game? I'm sure it's going. One of them is going to be Sherford Rutherford. And would you actually put David Willey out because he's had a couple of really good games and he can also contribute with the bat? So will Josh Hazelwood be a direct swap for David Willey, or would you persist with David Willey saying that, okay, it's going to give me that extra batting option and he can also bat anywhere in the batting order?
Yeah, I mean, so far they've also required Willie services with the bat, so I don't think that's a confident thing to say for David Willie and RCB both. But I definitely see Maxwell walking into the side for Sherfin Rutherford. But what it then does is then there is only just one left-hander in that entire middle order. If you even drop David Willie, so that is something that I don't know whether they are ready to do that. But you cannot drop one Hazaranga, you cannot drop Faf. So and you cannot drop Maxwell. So that is three players done right away. So it will be between one of Rutherford and Willie. I think Willie's bowling might give him that inch, or if they want new ball wickets. So this is where this is how they have to use it. So if you have Siraj and then bowling in partnership with Josh, then you'll probably feel that okay, I don't need David Willie because see whoever bowls, whether it's Willie or Josh, they have to bowl three up top. That's a given. So I think it could potentially be a call that they might take based on the conditions on that day. But because Willie gives me more with the bat, I'll be very tempted to stick with David Willie. But again, it's a tricky call to take, and that is one of the perks of having an overseas guy as a captain that you have to play him, of course, every game, and then you have to fit the other the jigsaw puzzles around him.
Do you see Mahipal Lomro at some stage? He's someone who has shown a lot of potential for Rajasthan Royals, and RCB also bought him for a particular reason that he's a left-hand option who can be used in the middle overs or in the middle order as well. Do you reckon he can come into the side at some stage, just considering that he's a left-hand option?
Yeah, but they do have Shahbaz Ahmed right now, so I
Right,
don't think
right,
that. I think he's the direct backup for somebody like a Shahbaz Ahmed because Shahbaz Ahmed is also a better bowler if you want to compare them in terms of their bowling abilities. So and he hasn't bowled so far. So I think it'll probably be that if something happens, if Shahbaz gets injured, then Longroor comes in. But otherwise, I don't see the space to accommodate both of them in that lineup.
right, right. You're absolutely right on that. Now let's talk about one segment which we all love. It seems like Nikhil has had a wavy day in terms of hair. Let's ask him if he has had a wavy day in terms of the fantasy segments. Nikhil, how was your fantasy outing today? We know that it's been a good day. Let's just remove that comment off and let's just put
Yeah,
the
it is
score to the
just
players.
had
Yeah. So
as I said, I had troubles with the hair and I had troubles with the fantasy picks as well because again, I don't think anybody expected Shahbaz Ahmed and Dinesh Karthik to be in the top 5 point givers for the day. Uh,
right.
I did have the rest three, so not a below average game, but eventually ended up as below average because David really dropped the bowling, dropped the catch of butter of the bowling of Deep, and Deep was my key differential bowler, and he ended up not taking any wicket. And I didn't make Butler captain purely because I felt he'll get out early,
Hmm.
but he didn't get out early. He went on to score well, but I had him. So again, these days happen, but as long as I know what is it that has gone wrong, what is it that has gone right, was it in my control? No. So I'm not responsible for that loss because I didn't do any mischief there. So it's okay. We'll do better. We'll do better.
Wavy day. It's been a wavy day. Nikhil brings his analogies with lemonade, wavy, and you know that next time if you have a bad day or an okay day, it's a wavy day. So,
Yeah,
so you say about a good hair day. Nicholas had a bad hair day and a bad wavy day at fantasy league.
yeah,
Now talking about not having a wavy day and having an absolute lemonade kind of a day. Lemonade is
yeah.
the analogy for the ones who are watching us for the first time. Lemonade is a day when you have a bingo day at fantasy cricket or fantasy sports. So, Nikhil, I'm handing over to you to talk about the course what you're doing with Marabout Sports.
Yes. So that's as I said today. It was a wavy day for me in fantasy, but I still got something back. That is because of the type of investments that I do in terms of the right contest. Now, if I was playing with my team in small league contests, I wouldn't have got anything back. But I've still managed to get something back. That is because of the way I play the game. That okay, I play with a couple of teams, one of which had Butter captain, and then the other one, the main team, didn't have. So it's okay. And as I said, the coach deals with such tips and tricks that I've had over the last 7 years in terms of what has made me stay in this field for long. Because these games are very tricky. You'll have tough days, but what you have to realize is when you have these tough days, you need to realize whether it was luck, whether it was your mistake, or what was it that you did wrong that you did not win that day. So like today, I was made Bala captain. So I'm not too angry or frustrated because he was dropped early. Now, had that catch been taken, I would have had a lemonade day, the perfect day, because I had the bowler who would have taken him down, and I had the RCB top order to chase the total down as well. And you wouldn't need Shabaz and Dinesh Karthik, but I still had Yuzvendra Chahal. So if you see, that is the kind of tricks and tips that I want people to know about fantasy sports so that they can stay in this for the longer time without getting into that, okay, I'm losing too much, it's all luck. There is luck, but that luck is after you have enough experience, enough questions to better your skills. So the
Right.
course deals with how to better those skills. What are the questions that you should ask yourself before you play a game? And in the long run, it has already benefited a lot of people. And hopefully, the more the people take, the more they'll realize that yes, it is possible to make a career in fantasy cricket as well.
Before we go, let's just have one word about that question what we have on the screen. Which account is the best team on the paper?
Uh, on paper, you would say one of Lucknow or Punjab. They do have their fair share of problems, but comparatively, if you compare them to others, I think Lucknow probably have the most uh, holes plugged in terms of star top order, informed middle order, uh,
Right.
very good all-rounders in Holder, Deepak Hooda, Krunal Pandya, domestic talent in Ravi Bishnoi, Avesh Khan, and
Hmm.
they also now have the death bowler in Thai. So on paper, it looks like that they have most of their holes plugged in properly, and it is just about clicking as a unit. But
Yeah.
as we saw, there are problems, and you'll have to come good every day to have very good days. So I think the game that they won against SRH would be pleasing for them because those are the games, as you said, those are the games that you need to pocket. That's what
Right.
binds the team together. So I think on paper, Lucknow probably look the most settled side as compared to others. There are a few
Right.
who are very way off the mark in this tournament.
Okay, having said that, thank you, Nikhil, for joining. It was a wonderful analysis of the in-depth analysis of this game because there were a lot to talk about. There were some blunders as well. So thank you guys for joining as well. Having said all this, without having any financial risk to play fantasy sports, it's without one platform. It's Boomer 11. This IPL win price is worth up to $5,000 playing on Boomer 11, and we are definitely going to be giving you some fantasy tips. So follow our Instagram page for that, and for all the cricketing memes and some sporting related memes as well, follow our Instagram page, and also subscribe us on YouTube because we'll be having Nikhil, Jones, Sandibani, some great analysis, some fan banter here and there. So enjoy that with us. So thank you, Nikhil. Have a good day, and I hope you all enjoyed the game as well.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. See you soon. Take care. Happy winnings.